Neverending Chain by Dragon Translator. Chapter 71. A Split View. Hiccup shifted so he could stare over Toothless. He pulled his spyglass out and peered through it. "Meatheads," he said, recognizing the standard on the sail. "They must be out to get the remedy ingredients too." "Alpha," Boulder began, "are they not the nest where your father believed you had destroyed that place of metal and fire?" Hiccup hummed. "Aye." "Is the son of their Alpha in the den, brother?" Toothless asked. "I'm not sure," Hiccup said. "They're too far out to really tell who is who, and I haven't seen Thuggery since Dad stopped taking me to chief gatherings." Hiccup looked down at his brother. "If he is, no one is to bother him." Toothless snorted. "He hit you. He lied about you and convinced your father you did something that he did." Hiccup sighed. "I know," he said, "but the rest of the tribes are worried that we will send you all to raid them. I don't want them to think I will use you all to enact revenge. I just want you all to live your lives in peace." Toothless cooed, and then his eyes became slits. "If he tries to harm you, brother, we will defend you." "I'm not going to stop you if that's what happens," Hiccup said. "We just can't make the first strike." "The water dern has let out a hatchling," the male typhomerang said. "It is swimming this way." Hiccup turned to the male typhomerang. "Please." Hiccup turned to the female typhomerang. "Please, get your children out of here. My nest will not harm a dragon, but I do not know what they will do." "Go, sister," the male said. "The young Alpha is our guest, and his brother is still ill. I will stay." The female stared at her brother, then tipped her head. She shuffled back, calling for her fledglings. They abandoned Moondust's tail and hurried to their mother. She aided them onto her wing, and with one last look back at her brother, she turned and took off. Hiccup waited until she could not be seen. "Sharp Shot." Sharp Shot hopped off Hiccup's lap. Hiccup stood and moved around Toothless. Fish Legs met him, and Meatlug and Boulder bracketed them. Sharp Shot climbed onto Hiccup's shoulder, and Moondust moved around to stand sideways in front of Hiccup and Fish Legs. A shadow fell over them, and Hiccup glanced up. The typhomerang stood behind Toothless, but his size meant his head could reach and hover over Hiccup. The skiff struck ground. Two burly men, and one the same age as Hiccup, stepped out. Hiccup's eyes narrowed. "So it be true," the one the same age as Hiccup said. "Buck done turned traitor." Hiccup just stared at Thuggery, not rising to the bait. He hated that the tribes thought that, but had to remember they did not know of the truth of the fallen queen. Not yet. "Come now, no words for your friend, Hiccup. You used to always have a quip or two back in the day." Thuggery looked to one of the men with him and gestured to Hiccup. "Dis be here where everybody be worried about?" "He nothing more than a weakling." That earned him snarls from the nest dragons. Hiccup took satisfaction in watching Thuggery pale. It was short-lived as Thuggery's eyes narrowed. "You gonna sick your beasts on me?" "I am not you," Hiccup said, letting the thing within his soul quote his words. The three meatheads blinked. Thuggery snarled and moved a step forward. Hiccup heard his brother fight to stand. One of the men with Thuggery clamped a hand upon his shoulder, stopping him. "Your father said to get the stuff for your aunt. He said leave Bug be if they be here." Thuggery glared at the man. "Me father no be here." "But we be," a new voice said. Hiccup glanced left and blinked. Steinar and Padrig stood 6 paces away. Both men glared at Thuggery. "You know of what was agreed upon," Steinar said, walking forward and placing himself in between Moondust and the people from the Meathead Island. "Me father agree," Thuggery said. "I no agree to it." "That matters not," Steinar said. "Your father did, and if ye strike now, ye be the one to start a war, not Hiccup." Gyda handed Gofi the eel. She stared at it and then tapped the bitten end. "Toothless," Gyda said, in order to save Hiccup's life. Gofi frowned and placed the eel on a shelf in her hut. She then etched some runes in the dirt. Astrid, who was settled but not calm, not with just Gyda's not with just Gida's spoken reassurance of Hiccup's health, looked down. She sneezed before she could translate for Gida. Gothi and Gida frowned at her. She glared back. She was not going to the Great Hall with the others. Hiccup placed the nest in her hands once more. She would not fail him. She would not dishonour him. She wants to know how Toothless is. So do I. Gida tilted her head. Not up to flying right now, but he threw up the eel. Gothi tipped her head and then stared at Astrid and etched some more runes in the dirt. Astrid's eyes narrowed. I will not. Gothi frowned and lightly smacked Astrid's arm. Astrid's eyes narrowed once more. Hiccup trusted me to care for the dragons. Astrid, Gida said before Gothi could write a response. Hiccup would not want you to run yourself into the ground. Astrid stared at Gida and lifted an eyebrow. Excuse me? Gida sighed. It means tire yourself out doing things that can be held off, especially when you don't feel well and should rest and recover. Hiccup loves you. He would not want to return and know you felt like you had to neglect your own health because of him. I will not fail him. Not again. Gothi beat Astrid in replying that time. Astrid looked down and her shoulders slumped. I failed him so much before. I can't. I love him. Gida placed a hand upon Astrid's shoulder. Do you believe in Hiccup? What kind of a question is that? You know I do. He said you have never failed him. If you believe him, why do you doubt that? End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. I love all the defending and trying to make it diplomatic. And that bit with Astrid. The girl's got her own demons. And she's needing a bit of help to fight them, which I think is very relatable. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.